Hello. Fern, where have you been? I haven't seen you around anywhere in a long time. What have you been up to? Did you get in trouble or something? Taking a break and working. Can't really play competitive while working and learning new gaming software. Okay, fair enough. Are we gonna see you at Riptide or Shine or Big House or anything? Are we gonna see you in person? Hello, Bowen. Hello, Pa Tom J. I might have screwed that up. That was a bad prediction on my part. Hello, Harry, Falco, Young Tofi, Mr. Rookie. Somebody, Mr. Rookie, you retweeted somebody's thing last week. I think you retweeted Nito's thing last week, and Nito was like, "Oh my god, I got retweeted by Splatoon News." It's like, yeah, it's kind of a big deal. That is a big deal. Splatoon News does not retweet just any willy-nilly nonsense. It warmed your heart seeing that. Fair enough. It's Splat a lot. I Splat a lot. I got Splat a lot on the brain. The Splatoon news underscore is actually pretty. It's actually pretty good. Your videos, your monthly recaps need to get more attention. And I'm surprised with the amount of followers that account has that it doesn't. But those recaps are pretty good. I enjoy watching them. The first two that I've seen. Finally catching one live. Well, I'm now doing these Mondays at this time. Pretty consistently now. Had a little bit of a IRL job change. So I get to work first shift on Mondays. Podcast for non-sleepers. Hey, I still my European my EU audience hasn't really fallen off that much since the time change for whatever reason. I think that says more about you guys than me. The Popcast, or as it's known in Europe, the Late Late Show, starring Popgun. You guys know there's a VOD on YouTube you can watch in the morning, but for you EU insomniacs, here we are. What was the last game on stream? Summer's Night. In-game TV come back for the namesake. Did they just rebrand though? Like is it like in-game TV wasn't just a Splatoon thing? That was like a whole org. Like weren't they like a non-profit organization? I'm pretty sure in-game to some extent still exists, even though they don't do Splatoon stuff. I would need another source to confirm that, but I think they just changed their name and it's just go on about their daily business, whatever they were doing, like a Smash or whatnot. I could be wrong about that. Mario Kart Wii. Well, I think they do Smash mainly, but yeah, they did do Mario Kart when they were in game. They did a lot of did stream a lot of Mario Kart tournaments. Ain't that something? I hate Mario Kart. I love Mario Kart 64, and I always thought Mario Kart would be something I would love doing online. Turns out I was wrong. Level 1, yes, that's what that is. That makes sense. But we're not here to talk about the past. We're here to talk about the future. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you're trying to figure out what this Ace Attorney clown thing is, complaining about the new Luna Blaster being more difficult to draw, remembering that Fall Guys is still a thing, whatever it is that you're doing right now, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Hey, a special shout out to my friends of Miss Popgun and I, Flume and Wings, formerly of Tidal Wave, got married over the past weekend. That is right. Two people who met on a competitive Splatoon team got married recently. How about that? That's pretty cool. Is that going to be the case for all of you little teenagers that are dating your teammate right now? No, probably not. But it's still a pretty cool thing. Wings and Flume, we have met IRL before, and we'll continue to meet IRL a couple of times in the future. I saw Wings tweeted out that they're going to be at the big house, so it's going to be cool to see them there. We'll see them beforehand, though. So wanted to give them a little shout out. I doubt they watch the Popcast unless it's something relevant, and assuming they're on their honeymoon right now, or maybe this is part of their honeymoon. But I wanted to give them a shout out. I don't know if anybody really in chat really knows who Wings and Flume are, but somebody in the Splatoon community got married in the competitive Splatoon community. That's pretty cool. Met through Splatoon. Are we getting a Splatoon Direct? Is this something people are just kind of rumoring, or they just kind of copiuming into existence? I don't know if that's an actual thing or not. But there you go. I'm interested in a Splatoon Direct. I really don't care about these Squid Research Lab. Oh, we found something. We've uncovered evidence that there's going to be a Luna Blaster in Splatoon 3. Like, oh, okay, cool. That's great. This little charade is interesting. Bless those Splatoon researchers. They're doing a lot of hard work to find that information on the game. Yes, there's a mini direct tomorrow, but I believe that's got to do with third-party stuff, not really like a main Splatoon 3 kind of thing. Was Wings on Checkmate? I don't think so. Wings was on Tidal Wave and was on something before that. I forget what it was before that, but definitely wasn't Checkmate. Wings is a K machine, but also has done some shooter stuff in the past. And Flume is a Charger player. Used to be, I met Flume when they were on, oh gosh, what was the name of that team before Tidal Wave? I forget. It had a bunch of players that are no longer, like Hebra. Man, it's really going to bother me. I'm going to figure it out in the middle of the episode. I'm just going to scream it out, and by then you guys will have forgotten. But whatever, we're moving on. News of tournaments that may be of casual interest to the casual listener of the Popcast. SAC tournament number 1 is this upcoming weekend. This is the first qualifier for the Season 5 championship that's going to happen at an undisclosed time. If you want to make the top 8 tournament, you don't have to play in all 4 tournaments. I know this is a difficult one to play in because of the holiday weekend here in the United States. I'm not going to be playing in it, but we're trying to Frankenstein a team to play for Destiny Troops just so we can get some sort of points and then go in tournament 2, 3, and 4 to try to do some damage there. But I feel like we can field a pretty good team of the people who don't have any plans on that Saturday, but I'm going to be out of town blowing up fireworks with my family. The weekend after that is Minnow Cup. Believe it is the Clan Blitz edition of that tournament. And when I say I believe, I'm literally just guessing because I don't know what comes up next. I'm pretty sure Splat Zones was the last one. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say Clan Blitz. Their sign says Rainmaker. So there we go. 33% chance, and it went down the drain. What team was Flume on before that? It's E. It was something like Eternal or Oblivion or Eternal Oblivion. Exile. That was it. It was on Exile. None of you were around competitive Splatoon, low-level competitive Splatoon at that time and know what Exile is, but it meant something to me that I remember that. Today, we are going to be recapping Little Squid League 21 that happened on Saturday. We're literally going to talk about every single team to some extent that played in that tournament. Easy thing about group format, I can literally just go down group by group and talk about every single team. So welcome in all the people who watch me just on Little Squid League days. It's good to see you guys here, and hopefully I won't say anything too negative about your team this time around. But first, we are now 2.5 months away from the launch of Splatoon 3 here on planet Earth. It's kind of surreal, isn't it? I remember doing a Popcast episode like a few days after the direct where we found out Splatoon 3 was actually happening. And I still, at the time, didn't believe Splatoon 3 was happening. When the trailer came out, I thought it was just going to be some sort of like Splatoon crossbow training side game, something like that. It was like, this isn't going to be Splatoon 3, but here we are. We are 2.5 months away from Splatoon 3 coming out, and right now, all we really know is that you can throw eggs to each other in Salmon Run. But regardless, it doesn't matter. You guys don't care. If you're watching the Popcast, you are somebody who has probably already pre-ordered this game and are willing, if not already, to just hand over your wallet to Nintendo in exchange for a copy of Splatoon 3. You're sold. You're getting the game. Would you like more information about what the game's going to be? Yes. Do you need it? No, you don't. You have already bought it, or you are going to buy it. You are going to get it because that is what we are all transitioning to. I've said this before, it's not a funeral for Splatoon 2 that we're going to be attending at Riptide. It's a divorce. We are separating ourselves from Splatoon 2, and we're getting married to Splatoon 3 that same day. We're getting a divorce, and we're bringing our new fiance with us to sign the divorce paperwork. That's what this is going to be. However, for the next 2.5 months, we're still stuck with Splatoon 2. We're staying with it. We're going to keep playing it until the wheels fall off and squeeze every last inch, every last ounce of competitive funness out of this game that we possibly can. So what I wanted to do here is just take a segment to kind of highlight all the things that are coming up in the next 2.5 months leading up to the release of Splatoon 3, because there's a lot of things coming up here. And I'm not just sitting here going to list them off as like, well, on this date, this tournament's happening. No, I'm going to explain the significance of all these events, because what you are about to see between now and Splatoon 3 could very well be the most Splatoon 2 action that you've seen at any point in Splatoon 2's career. This could be the peak of competitive Splatoon 2. Not that we've already hit our peak and this is falling down. No, we have built up so much momentum that this game is skyrocketing into Splatoon 3 as far as competitiveness is concerned. So, let's briefly discuss some upcoming events that are going to be taking place. And as I'm kind of doing that, I do want to point out, I have the next 16 episodes of the Popcast, I already have planned out. Not like written out, like I don't have them in my new notebook thing or anything like that. But I already know what the topic is going to be of the next 16 episodes of the Popcast. So let me just kind of spoil the next 16 episodes of the podcast for you here on this segment that I am calling the Endgame of competitive Splatoon 2. First off, SAC is back. All of you crying and moaning about, oh, mid-level, there's nothing for mid-level. Oh, we need more stuff for mid-level. Okay, SAC's here. The mid-level tournament that you all know and love and been begging to come back. Well, it's back this upcoming Saturday, and here's the significance of that. It is now consistent. SAC for the past 2 years, in 2020 and 2021, there was one season, a season in January that started in January of both of those years, and then we just didn't see it for the rest of the year. So what happened? 2022, January rolls around, another edition of SAC comes out, and here we are, like 3 months later since the last season ended, and we already got a whole nother season. That's great. It's not a 3 months out of the year thing now. It is consistent. So now mid-level just has to wait between the next SAC seasons before they can get their next fix from SAC. That's a great thing. That's part of the reason why IPL went out and did the partnership with them, so that it can be running more often, 2 to 3 to, I don't know if you probably can't squeeze in 4 seasons in a year, but 3 seasons in a year, that's pretty significant. The formula of the circuit has been refined as well to where it is, it's running just 4 tournaments out of the year and then a top 8 tournament at the end of that, instead of a couple seasons ago where it was like 8 tournaments and then 6 and then a leaderboard that was like the eyeball tests of people that were running the tournament. No, it's just you sign up for one of the 4 tournaments, or you play in all the tournaments, you get points after it, and the top 8 point collectors move on to the final tournament. That's a great format. It's great because so many people look at low ink and they say, I want low ink for mid-level. And it's like, you can't just do that. You can't have a 2-day tournament every single weekend for a different skill level. It needs to be something a little bit different in a circuit. So SAC, think about it like this. It's not a 2-day tournament. It's more like a 5-day tournament that's just spread out over a course of weekends instead of the course of one weekend. It's a new concept, a new format for people that are banned from low ink that isn't the same thing that they've constantly seen. And I like that. And I feel like most people like that as well. Even though everybody says they just want low ink for mid-level or low ink for everybody. No, you don't. What you want is something a little bit different. And that's what SAC's format is able to provide for you guys. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of forewarning of what's going to happen here. of what kind of complaints you're going to see after this first SAC tournament, because the first qualifier always kind of gives you the same complaints over and over and over again. First off, everyone's going to, well, not everyone, most people are going to complain that the format is Swiss. Fair enough. The first tournament last season was 6 rounds of Swiss, and then best of 5 top cuts to like a best of 7 grand finals, and the tournament lasted for 6 hours. Yes, it's still Swiss, but the format has been kind of refined. They're able to break it down to where it's just 5 rounds of Swiss, and they make as many groups as they need to where it's just 5 rounds of Swiss, and top cuts are just best of 3s. The reason for that being, these are just qualifiers. The first 4 tournaments are just qualifiers now. It's not like you're going to say, oh, I won, Squid Spawning Grounds and Coast to Coast tournament, which was like the name of the 2 tournaments SIC had leading up to their top 8 back in the day. Now it's just qualifier 1, qualifier 3. And it's not this grand epic tournament you're trying to win. It's just a grab bag to try to get as many points as you can. It's just day 1 of Swiss of low ink, basically. Spread out across 4 times. And then whoever does the best over those 4 gets to move on to top cut. That's a great format. And I think that helps kind of alleviate the annoyance that Swiss brings when you realize there's not as much pressure that kind of goes into that. It has the annoyance of low ink. It's like, okay, if I lose twice during the Swiss stage, I might be a contender to win the whole tournament, but because I screwed up in best of 3 Swiss, now I'm out. Well, you can screw up a lot in SAC and still make top cut. Hell, you cannot make top cut in pretty much all 4 tournaments, but if you do make silver bracket and you light up silver bracket all 4 times, you can very easily slip into the top 8. Another thing people are going to complain about is the skill cap, wherever the skill cap may be. Where is it? I don't really know. I mean, the official rule is +3. Everybody in +3 and below is allowed into this tournament. I don't know who's in +3 anymore. I don't know who's in +2. You can't just look that up on the Sendout queue thing. I'm sure those of you who care enough to go into the private server can figure out who is in +3 and +2. But there are going to be people who have been recently kicked out of low ink that are going to play in this tournament, and they're not going to make bronze bracket. Remember last season, I listed off all the teams that were banned from low ink recently, or had one low ink within the past couple of months, and they played in SAC, and in that first tournament, they went 3-3 in Swiss, and they didn't even make top cut. They didn't even make bronze bracket. And I pointed out how that's a good thing. When you get kicked out of low ink, you shouldn't be immediately going into SAC and dominating. You should be starting over. And you do see some teams that get kicked out of low ink and then they start dominating anyways in SAC. But it shouldn't be an automatic thing. This shouldn't be an automatic wins for people that are banned from low ink. This is starting over. Right from the grassroots where you did when you were a little Squid League team. Like all the little Squid League teams we're going to start up here. Talk about here in a second. But my point being, people are going to complain about this no matter what. Just be prepared for that. But don't let it distract you from the fact that SAC is back and it is a good thing. Taking up 3 Saturdays in July and then 1 tournament in the middle of August, which leaves you time for a grand finals before Riptide, which is the end date of Splatoon 2. So SAC back. That's awesome. Super Jump is coming out in July as well. I don't think I've done a talk about Super Jump 2 yet, so let's do that real quick. This is the online major. The online major that's going to be taking place at the end of July. That is billed as the final big online event. This is it. This is the coup de grace, the swan song. Everything's been building up to this. We're going to determine who is the best of the best in Splatoon 2 on the entire world of the few teams from Japan that are going to come over and play and take our prize money and run off into the night. Now, the problem with this Super Jump date is a couple of things. First off, there's a Nintendo tournament going on, which we didn't know this was happening. Now, are we going to lose too many teams to the Nintendo tournament? Not necessarily. The top cut of the Nintendo tournament is on Saturday, and I'm pretty sure teams could sign up for a wave that dodges that time, or maybe that time of that Nintendo tournament eats up both wave A and B for Super Jump. But you're talking about maybe one team in North America that would affect, like a FT Win or a Starburst, depending on if any of them are playing in that particular Nintendo tournament. I don't care, though, because there are teams in Europe, Australia, South America that get absolutely nothing from Nintendo. Absolutely nothing. Australia got a tournament once. Europe got a tournament once. South America, I'm convinced Nintendo does not know they actually exist. So Super Jump is for all of those teams, not just one top-level team in North America. So to create this online tournament that's going to welcome in all of those teams, even though it conflicts with Nintendo, who cares? The other concern with the date, though, with this being the final big tournament in Splatoon 2, well, it's July. You still got August and a little bit of September. Is it fair to have the grand finale tournament like a month and a half before Splatoon 3 comes out? I think so. I think there's still enough going on in August to where it's not just the complete fall off that we're going to see or that some people might expect to see. Because we see this happen all the time, right? We see always people come out and say, I'm not playing, and this tournament's done. I'm leaving the game until Splatoon 3 comes out. I'll see you guys later. Well, if it were to happen in July, that's fair because the game's just right around the corner. But how many times have we been convinced that the game is dead only for something brand new to come out of nowhere that drives everybody's attention and focus to want to come back and grind for that tournament? I wouldn't be surprised if something else were to pop up in August, not up to the level of Super Jump, but enough to where it gets enough eyeballs raised to like, I might eat some more missiles to play in that tournament. I wouldn't be too worried or too concerned about that. So I'll be sure to play in that tournament. So yes, is Super Jump going to be the biggest thing of the year for Splatoon 2? Yes. But I'm not convinced it's going to be the last top level event that's going to be going on, even though I don't have like any insider information of what else is coming down the pipe in August. I'm not convinced Super Jump is going to be it. Now, we do already know of some pretty high level stuff that is going to be happening before Splatoon 3 comes out. That is not Super Jump 2. Of course, I'm talking about the LANs that are going to be taking place. First up is Shine. Now, the question with this is, who is going to Shine? Because I have no idea. I know my wife is going, and I don't think we booked plane tickets for that yet. But I don't know anybody else who's going to Shine. I know there are people going to Shine, and I know people have tweeted out that they're going to Shine. And I saw the tweet that they had yesterday or a few days ago that showed the commentators. So I didn't know Magic was going to Shine, but now I know Magic is going to Shine. Who else is going? I don't know, because when I look at start.gg, I can't look it up. Why? Why can I not see who is going to Shine? Who is registered for Shine? I have no idea why I can't just look that up. I can today look up and see everyone who is signed up and registered for Riptide. Even when the teams are incomplete and people just sign up as like, this isn't my team. I just put this team name down so that I could sign up for this tournament. I can look that up today and see everything for Riptide. I can't see anything for Shine. And you know what sucks about that? A lot of people go to these events because they are costly and time consuming to get to these events. They want to know who else is going to be there. And like, if I'm going to be the only person going there, or I'm going to go there and I don't know anybody, that might affect my decision to register or not. So when the only way you can find out who is going to this event is just by looking through Twitter and see who's tweeting about it. And again, people might be tweeting about it. That doesn't mean they're registered for it. Now, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, I might be going to Shine, or, ooh, should I go to Shine or not? Who else is going? And then you just see responses of, I might. Yeah, maybe. Okay, well, who's registered? I don't know. And that sucks. That's the major issue with Shine. And I don't understand why it is like that. I'm sure there is some sort of logical reasoning behind that, but it's not helping. Whatever the reason is, it is 100% not helping anything with the case for Shine. Now, here's what we know about Shine. It's going to be awesome. We're going to talk about it. And again, like K-Bot has said several times and said on this show a couple episodes ago, no matter what you do, if you host an event, people are going to come out to it and they're going to enjoy themselves. You can have a great run tournament or issues pop up, and you deal with it. But regardless, people are going to find ways to enjoy themselves and have fun in a LAN tournament. So that's awesome. The question is, are we going to see FT1 and Starburst play against each other? Because I've seen them say like they might be there, but they also might not. And again, we'll never really know until maybe it's too late to even consider going or not. Oh, still, we're going to be keeping an eye on Shine. We're going to be excited to watch it. It's going to be a fun tournament. And I am sending the wife. The wife is going to be the official Popcast reporter on site, getting information, and then we'll ask her about it so that we can do an episode of the Popcast about it. But still, man, you want Shine to be successful, and it's going to be more successful if they bring it back next year for Splatoon 3 than for Splatoon 2. But yeah, there's just a lot of questionable stuff with that one. The other big events going on, as we all know, the final date for Splatoon 2 is when Splatoon 3 comes out. And on the very day that Splatoon 3 comes out, Riptide, we are running an event. Do you guys know there is going to be a tournament day one of Splatoon 3 coming out? Is that crazy? That is weird to think about. Now, I guess that's kind of the norm for other esports. But I want you guys to kind of realize something. On the first day that the game comes out, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go to Twitch and they're going to search in the category for Splatoon 3 because they're going to want to see the game in action. What are they going to see? They're going to see two things. Well, they're going to see like 100 things, but they're going to see two things on the front of that category. First off is Dude, who's probably going to do like a 72-hour stream of that game. The other one, though, is going to be a live in-person tournament taking place in Sandusky, Ohio. There are going to be so many people who've never heard of Riptide, never heard of a competitive version of Splatoon, that are going to be looking on Twitch and seeing live commentators and live people playing a tournament of a game that came out just a few hours ago. That is insane. And that's such a huge marketing thing for IPL and for competitive Splatoon in general. That's such a huge, straight out the gate. Hey, you just bought this game? Well, here's people playing it in competitive scene. And oh, by the way, here's Low Ink. Here's Little Squid League. Here's other tournaments that we got. Here it is. Come check it out. Come join the Discord server. This is going to be a cool thing to see. Now, is the tournament itself going to be good? Probably not. We're going to look back at that tournament a year from now, a month afterwards, and realize, oh, wow, I can't believe that was the comp that won on day one. Or, wow, I can't believe we didn't realize this special was as good as it is right now, or something like that. It's still going to be really doggone awesome to see. And awkward knowing that we are going to chase that Splatoon 3 tournament with 2 straight days of Splatoon 2. The real ending to Splatoon 2. The real final nail in the coffin for Splatoon 2, other than meme tournaments where we're just going to bring it back just for a one-day funsy kind of thing, is Riptide. And again, who's going to Riptide? Now, the answer to this is a little bit more clear, but as far as like who's actually going to go, you're not going to find out until they sign up a little bit later down the road. You look at there are a few complete teams, License to Krill, Prophecy, that do kind of get your attention, that do kind of raise some eyebrows, like, oh, those are some pretty decent teams there, or some disbanded teams that you like to see come back. You see Jackpot has just one player signed up right now, but if Jackpot's full team were to go, along with some version of FT Win, along with Starburst, if they were to come back and do it, and all of a sudden you got a fantastic LAN tournament that can close out this competitive scene here for Splatoon 2. But it's just still going to be weird considering Splatoon 3 is right there, just kind of floating around, hovering all over, just this cloud all over this, and just reminding all of us why we're so eager to get rid of this game of Splatoon 2. Now, there's one more thing that I have yet to mention that is going to be taking place during this whole in-game arc. Of course, I'm talking about the one wild card that is so disconnected from the community, but it's something that is impossible to ignore. Every now and then, Nintendo tries to pull a tournament out of their ass and run it. With no warning, with no heads up, with no sense of rhyme or reason as to why or when these tournaments are happening. But at any point, Nintendo can just decide, we're going to take over this entire month. Fridays and Saturdays belong to us now. Bye. It's us. Okay. Cool. Turf War Fridays and then top cut of actual Splatoon on Saturdays for backpack. Okay. Thank you. That's awesome. 4 tournaments in July. 8 days they're taking up. Now, again, we like Nintendo tournaments. They bring in a ton of new blood to the competitive scene. There's nothing really bad with Nintendo tournaments. And we've gotten used to Nintendo run. Before, when Nintendo ran a tournament, it was like, oh, crap, we gotta cancel all our events. We got to get out of their way. Now we realize, oh, wait, we can just run all of our events over Nintendo, and we lose nothing. Literally nothing. The last time we ran a Nintendo tournament, or a low ink during a Nintendo tournament, we lost one team. Like one team that would usually finish at the bottom, and it's like, okay, maybe playing a Nintendo is a good thing for you because you can get more experience against some casual teams, get some wins against them, then come back in the low ink next month. So it's like there's no harm in competing against Nintendo anymore, which is awesome. Now they're doing streams for all of their tournaments, and that might hurt Twitch viewerships. That's yet to be seen. But it is kind of weird when you think about Nintendo can just do anything at any time they want, and we have no idea that it's coming because I don't think they realize any of this exists. And I say that because there is one additional Nintendo tournament that hasn't been announced yet, but we all know is coming. That's right. There's 4 tournaments here. If 4 teams are going to win, what if we had those 4 teams? This is a crazy idea. What if we had those 4 teams play against each other for an even bigger backpack? Or, as some people are speculating, an early copy of Splatoon 3 and a special Splatoon 3 themed Switch, which is what some people are speculating is a thing. And it'd be cool if that was the case. But when is that tournament going to be? When are we going to have this Fresh 4 secret tournament that maybe I'm convinced the actual head TO of this tournament doesn't even think about yet until they're like, oh, hey, wait a minute. What if we just do this and not tell the teams that are going to be playing it until we've already decided on what day and time, and just say, we're not inviting them. We're telling them they're playing in it. When is this going to be? I don't know. August again. This was kind of why I was kind of mentioning there might be something that pops up in August. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Nintendo tournament. But I'll tell you this right now. It's either going to be before Shine, like the week before Shine, or the week before Riptide. You are not going to see a Nintendo tournament on the same weekend as Shine or the same weekend as Riptide. I'm willing to bet what little hair I have left on that fact. And how do I know that? Let me take a sip. No, it's not because my uncle works at Nintendo. However, though, I can confirm this. While Nintendo probably has no idea that Low Ink is a thing, or that Dapple Productions is a thing, or SAC, or anything that we try to do here is an actual thing, they do know that Low Tide City is a thing, Shine is a thing, Big House is a thing, Riptide is a thing. They know all of that stuff, and all that stuff is on their radar. At Low Tide City, there was actually a representative from Nintendo at that event. That's pretty cool. I don't think some people realize that, but there was an actual Nintendo rep at Low Tide City. Now, it has not... I did ask around a little bit. I didn't see this person, but I did ask around, and I was like, what is this... What does the Nintendo rep do here? And nobody really knew. Like, even the higher up people that I talked to said they didn't really know what that person was doing there. But I can tell you this. It's not like that. I was told this. I was told that's pretty standard for any major LAN that has Nintendo themed games or Nintendo games that are like the predominant thing that's going on at that LAN. So to me, that kind of comes across as just like Nintendo sent somebody out. And I think some of us have had jobs like this where it's just like, Nintendo just told me to come here. Here's my clipboard. I just got to check off that I saw these stuff and I'm out of the door. So I don't think it's like that person's just going there and being like, oh, wow, these people like Melee. We didn't know that. Oh man, wait till I call up people back at headquarters. Hey, you remember that game that we regret making? Like that game we absolutely hate that we created. They love it. We should do a tournament. We should like support this with sponsorship. No, I think they're just kind of going there to keep an eye on Splatoon because they actually like Splatoon and are proud of Splatoon, unlike Melee, and just kind of like making sure we're not screwing up anything or making anybody look bad. So I don't think there's anything going on there. But I will say this, that proves that they are aware that these LANs actually happen. So I don't think they're going to try to run over Shine or Riptide when it comes to their Fresh 4 event. I think it's going to take place opposite of those kind of dates. But still, it is nice to see that Nintendo is still doing their things and still pays attention to the LAN scene. If only they were just a bit more consistent on their formats and when they actually come out with their tournaments. But hey, you can't have your cake and eat it too. All those things I kind of talked about right there does not include SOS, Paddling Pool, Triton Cup, Minnow Cup, Little Squid League, Megalodon Cup, Squid Junction, the August Low Ink that is going to be coming back. Friday Night Frenzy that is wrapping up there. This guest is halfway through season number 4 right now. All these things going on right now. And all of this going on during a meta that everybody hates. Even people that win in this meta complain about how much they hate it, which further proves the point. Maybe it's not people complaining that the meta sucks that's keeping them away from the game. Maybe it was just the lack of actual quality events they wanted to play in. Well, now all the quality events are back. And they're every single weekend in July, in August, then leading up to September. And then Splatoon 3 comes out. And all of a sudden, we've got all this momentum built up, pushed towards Splatoon 3. And then Splatoon 3 drops. And I'm not leaking anything. But if you guys know, Riptide is not the end of the big things to come for Splatoon 3. And I don't have like confirmed information, but I can leak this. There are going to be multiple majors for Splatoon 3 once that game comes out. I'm not saying what org is doing that, and I'm not saying I have exact information of confirming any of that, but I will be surprised if by the end of September and October, we have not already played 2 to 3 Splatoon 3 majors outside of what you saw at Riptide at LAN. And I'm not counting the big house in that as well. I'm talking about online stuff. Everybody is waiting to get their hands on major tournaments for Splatoon 3. And we're building up to that with all the teams that are going to be playing in July and August and at the 2 LANs leading up to this as well. The Splatoon 2 Endgame. And I've been talking about this for a long time. We can't just stall. We can't just throw in the towel. The meta's bad. The missile spam sucks. Let's just all put down the game. More people are playing competitive Splatoon now, it seems like, than what we've ever seen before. At least viewership has been skyrocketing as well. Just look at Low Ink. 400 people watching Low Ink last time. 400 people. We used to be excited to get 150, and then we're averaging 200 consistently, and then we broke 300. Now we're breaking 400. There is a lot more attention on Splatoon 2 than there's ever been. And we got this amazing month and a half to go, or 2 months and a half to go. It's exciting times. Like I said, the next 16 episodes are book topic-wise here on the Popcast. So that's just a little bit of preview of all the things that come that we're going to be talking more in depth in the future. It's kind of a great way to send off Splatoon 2, don't you think? Swallowed my water wrong. Highlighted messages. Harry, are Nintendo going to lose players to Super Jump? Absolutely. Well, again, Super Jump starts on Saturday, and Saturdays are just top cut. And there's 2 different waves, so I think there's a way to where a team can do top cut of Nintendo and Super Jump. But yeah, there's more incentive. I don't know. There's a secret incentive that is interesting people into the Nintendo tournament. But if it's still just backpacks and stuff, yeah, I think some teams will dip for Super Jump. This is true. South America doesn't have anything by Nintendo except the eShops. There you go. We'll take your money, not your, but we're not going to give you anything. That sounds about fair. Play Top Cut, Nintendo, and Super Jump. Yes. And all these teams have been saying they want to play against good competition. In the North American Nintendo tournaments, you play against F2N and Starburst, and that's it. You don't get to play against the strong EU teams or the strong South American teams, which there are some strong South American teams. We've been talking about their mid-level. We kind of forget Novel Gaming's getting up there as well. We got a lot of strong upper echelon South American teams that could easily make top cut and easily threaten to take some games off the big boys in NA. Plus, you don't get to play the... we had like a couple of teams from Japan play last time. Not just the Kings, but another team from Japan that made decent run into Alpha Bracket as well. So, if you want to play against the best of the best, Nintendo can offer that. Super Jump does. And high-level players said that's what they want. They want strong competition. Well, that's what Super Jump offers. Now, instead of talking about what's going to happen for the next 2.5 months, let's circle back and talk about what happened last week. It is now time for the weekly recap. SOS number 73 took place this past Wednesday, and it was won by conch shell emote. I love it when you guys just put an emote down for your team name. Like, there's nothing more I don't care. I mean, I would much rather you call yourselves just Pickup than just use an emote. That's not even letters. It's just a picture of something. But I believe this is another Japan Pickup that is one low. I don't think it's the same team, but basically a Japan Pickup is one SOS 2 weeks in a row. Why are we getting all these Japan teams all of a sudden interested in SOS? Cool to see them there, though. Second place went to Sleepy and others. Third place went to Vanilla Sky. What is a Vanilla Sky? It makes me hungry. People have been complaining about the format for SOS forever. And several people have pointed out, well, the reason SOS doesn't get a lot of teams that sign up for their tournament is the format. Have you guys paid attention to SOS at all? Ever? SOS has gone in the past 5 tournaments. They have they have more teams sign up than what they can fit into their tournament. 4 of the past 5 tournaments in SOS. So the issue isn't not enough teams are signing up for SOS. The issue is too many teams are signing up for SOS. Well, does that mean they should change the format? No, because you guys also have this misconception that this tournament lasts till midnight every single time, and it never really does. So there's a lot of misconceptions about SOS by people who don't play in SOS and constantly tweet about it for some reason. Why is there a cap? Because it's a work night / school night tournament. If you have more than 32 teams, the tournament lasts longer, and we can't have people having tournaments last crazy long on a Wednesday night. That's why there is a cap of 32, so that the tournament can end at a roughly the same kind of time. Or do you guys want to play at 1 a.m. into Thursday morning before you go to school or work the next day? Just wanted to point that out. The only people who complain about SOS seem to never play in it and don't really understand how awesome of a tournament this is. Yes, would I like to see double elimination tournaments? Yes, double elimination is probably the best format for mid-level, top-level teams for weeklies. But if everything was double elim, it would get watered down. So SOS, nothing good to say about it. Well, he's just saying that because he works for IPL. Well, this means I pay attention to it more than other people, but still pretty good. Hammerhead was won by Little Timmy and the Slays. Hey, what? If they're called Little Timmy, does that mean the TO changed their name? Yes, I don't know what their name was before, but it was inappropriate enough to where they got renamed to Little Timmy. I believe this is half of this team is players from Miata, who got a 3rd place in last Low Inc., now winning Hammerhead, sweeping INKD in the process. Mako bracket was won by Matcha, and Lantern bracket was won by Acropora. Megalodon Cup number 6, the Tower Control Edition, was won by Pace Q, who won a bracket reset against Grape Juice. Tempora, Bandits pickup team of the week, took 3rd place in this tournament. 31 teams signed up for Megalodon Cup number 6 Tower Control Edition. That has to be a record for Megalodon Cup tournaments. I don't think they've really got 20, but they hit 31 this time around, and it's good to see it. It's also good to see, hey, you guys like double limb? Megalodon does it, and it's good to see an organization like MIT use a format that's not Swiss. I think everybody looks at Low Inc. and says, we got to do Swiss because that's what they do. No, Little Squid League does groups. Megalodon Cup does double elimination open invite tournament, being won by Medi Isabel pickup group there. Congratulations to them. The Clam Blitz, or not Clam Blitz, the Clam World Cup was played yesterday in Japan, and it was broadcast on IPL on an English broadcast by K-Bot and Shiny Hunter Zach. Shiny Hunter Zach being one of the final commentators for Low Tide City. So it's cool that we've gotten these English broadcasts for these Japan tournaments. That's twice we've done it now on IPL. Magic and Nine did the Splatoon World Championships a few weeks ago as well. I can't even begin to pronounce the names of the teams that won this tournament, so I'm not going to embarrass myself. But if you're interested in some high-level Japan Splatoon tournaments, check out the VOD. It was on yesterday on IPL's channel. Friday Night Frenzy week number 4 came to a conclusion on Friday. Well, how about that? I don't have the results pulled up until just now. Ink Bashers 2-1 Acropora, New Horizon 2-1 Crimson Quake, INKD 3-0 Aquatic Vanguard, Jelly Squid sweep the Pirates 3-0. And that was your weekly recap. Sponsored by my longest time standing fan, Riley versus the Blade, who I believe has been in chat of every single episode of the Popcast known to mankind. This week's episode of the weekly recap sponsored by Riley versus the Blade. Congratulations. Together was an English name? I have it down. Twitter translated it to Ryuzi. Ryuzi Bay. Boy. Twitter translations can't be wrong, right? Let's look at little Squidweed and then call it a day. Is this where we are? The broadcast is no longer on IPL. Did we not save it? Huh. I wonder if that was something like because it was a restream. I went around to save the VOD of it or something like that. I don't know. That's weird. Huh. I did not know that. Little Squid League 21. So I had to look back into this because it's been a while since I've done this like breakdown of groups kind of thing here. And this is the first normal Little Squid League since February. And that kind of blew my mind. I felt like there was one in like March and April, but no, the last time there was a like Little Squid League 19 was in February. That's crazy to think about. And this kind of shows how difficult it was for them to get Little Squid League 20 off the ground. They wanted to do that 2-day major tournament with a $500 prize pool. And the dates they kept picking kept getting kind of run over because they couldn't like announce their tournament before somebody else. And they just kept having to like push it back and eventually just pushed it back to a date where 20XX was running at the same time. So I'm glad they got Little Squid League 20 in, but yeah, I was surprised that this was the first normal one in 4 months. It was good to see back. In case you forgot, because I did, the team that won the Little Squid League 19, the February one, was the Blue Glaucuses. What happened to those guys? I haven't seen them around. I spent the time to figure out how to pronounce their name, and then they disappeared. What kind of sick joke is that? So what 26 teams played in this one, half of them representing Splat a lot, it seems like. And I'm going to talk about every single team to some extent, not in deep detail, but we're at least going to mention their name. Going by group that we love here. First off, Group A. And now, if you were to look at the actual kind of group stage thing here, like the actual results, I like how it shows the actual seed. Like, this isn't the seed for the group. This is seed overall. Like, Citric Q's was the #1 overall seed, which is really helpful. I think this is just a new Battlefy feature, but this is really helpful for people seeing the tournament as a whole, not just like, oh, who's like the #1 seed in just this group. And it makes these matchups where the Bamboo Dragons sweep them seem even more impressive. But the good thing is I like that the groups that got the higher seeded teams, like Lemongrass is the #2 team here, and Bamboo Dragons were the #1 overall team. I like that they got put in the 3-team group instead of the 4-team group. And I just now realized that that's better that they're in the smaller group because it gives them less opportunities to screw up. The top 2 teams move on to top cut here. So if you're the #1 seed like Citric Hughes or the #2 seed like Lemongrass, you can screw up once and you just got to win once and you move on to top cut. Instead of giving them that 4th game here, which isn't an opportunity for them to win again, it's just an opportunity for them to lose a second time. So you only got to win 1 game and you make top cut here. So I feel like 3 teams is more forgiving than 4, which makes more sense to make sure that your top 2 seeds move on to top cut. But as far as Group A is concerned, Bamboo Dragons able to take care of business in this one. Territorial Water Otters. Good to see them continue to play in tournaments. They're grinding. They'll get there eventually. Group B, you have Lemongrass, who won this entire tournament, dominated top cut, took an L here to Inkception. I did not realize that when I first looked at this. I know every single match here was 2-1 in this group, which shows how competitive it is. But I didn't realize Lemongrass won there. Okay, this is where they lost. So they lost 2-1 to Inkception, a.k.a. Hotel Popgun. I see you. So that's good to see. When you look at just the top cut, you think, oh, wow, Lemongrass dominated this. Why did they get let into the tournament? Well, they didn't even win their group. And actually, this team right here took a game off of them as well. They were one singular game away from falling down the silver bracket, which is where Lemongrass was as well. But hats off to Inception for now for being the better team, even though it didn't end up that way at the end of Top Cut. Group C, I see ya, my favorite team name to say. The runner-up to Little Squid League 20, dominating their group right here, to no surprise to anybody. Radical Dreamers technically got an upset over Splat-A-Lot D. Splat-A-Lot D's nuts. That's not a joke. That's actually what they call themselves. Listen to the Low Ink pre-show. But it didn't really matter. Both teams made silver bracket anyways. Like, these two teams were seeded to make gold bracket. Sia and Original X were able to make the bracket. So nothing, even though like a few trades got put down here at the bottom, everybody ended up in the bracket they were supposed to end up into, which is good to see for them, I guess. Group D, and the best Splat-A-Lot team here in this tournament, not Splat-A-Lot F. Splat-A-Lot F's exemption request got denied, so this isn't even the best Splat-A-Lot team remaining low ink eligible. Splat-A-Lot F still floating around. But here, I want to talk about the Splat-A-Lots for a second, because there are, four of them? Four of them in this tournament. And then there's still F that's eligible for low ink. So there's 5 Splat-A-Lot teams roaming around low level right now. And it's interesting because of what Splat-A-Lot A did a few weeks ago in low ink, that all of these teams are now just living in that shadow. And they got that target on their back. Like, everybody who was never gunning for these 4 players before now see this name Splat-A-Lot, and they're all gunning for them, giving them probably an extra fight than what they did before, because it's like you got the Splat-A-Lot name attached to you right now. So I wonder how they deal with that pressure of just being in the shadow of Big Brother and having to live up to that kind of expectation. As a little brother myself, that can be a little overwhelming at times, but at least for the group stage, Splat-A-Lot I able to get it done. Splat-A-Lot I. Hook, line, and sinker taking second place here. Okay, so there's 3 matches that were on stream for the group stage. All went 2-1 and all decided who made top cut and who made silver bracket. So really competitive stuff there. This first one being hook, line, and sinker. Who did that? They did play Splat-A-Lot didn't they? Is this the Clamblitz game that I saw? It is. And actually, this one didn't really decide anything. They both made top cut, so that statement I just made was a lie. But this was interesting. So it was tied 1-1 going into Splat Zone, or Clamblitz at Art Academy. And hook, line, and sinker stops a push. And you see that Clapples player do a little stare down after they splatted the last guy and ended the push with 30 seconds left to go. By the way, the stare down is a much better taunt than squid bagging. I think after you splat somebody and you just stand still and you just tilt your controller down so it looks like you're staring down at their corpse, I think that's a lot harder than just squid bagging. I think that goes hard. But that hook, line, and sinker player did that, and then Splat-A-Lot A somehow came back in overtime anyways when it looked like they shouldn't have. And they were able to kind of steal one right there. Again, they both make top cut, so it doesn't really matter. Your seeding top cut doesn't really matter, but still, that was interesting to see. Somebody kind of beating their chest a little bit, and it came back to get them. At least that's what it looked like from the replay that I saw. Group E saw Salvo, who was seated at the very bottom, way bottom of this tournament, go 3-0, sweeping this group. Sommerzite, No Name Brand, and Growling Otters, related to the a lot of otter teams going on around here all of a sudden. But Salvo, who was seated very low in this tournament, ended up winning this group. That happens. It happens in open invite tournaments that have seeding. Sometimes you get a team that's way underseeded that really outperforms everything. Sometimes when a team doesn't have a lot of information, it's just kind of a guessing game. You don't know how really good they're going to do. But Sommerzite is a name brand low-level LSL team. They're able to beat them. And who is Sommerzite and No Name Brand, I believe, are the teams that played here. Sommerzite winning 2-1. They go to top cut. No Name Brand going down to silver bracket there. Group F, Ship Shape, able to take care of business in this one, going 3-0. And Squidius stole a spot from Yup. And Squidius seeded to finish in third place right here, and said yup to yup and bounced them out right there. Splat-A-Lot B, the second Splat-A-Lot team, probably the most consistently playing in tournaments, Splat-A-Lot B, other than like all these other letters we see pop up right here, finishing at the bottom, but still the second oldest team as far as alphabetical order is concerned. Group G saw Ewfish winning that group. No surprises right there. Ink 87 beat Based Bars in game 3. Rainmaker, Snapper Canal, instead of Rainmaker Moment, able to get a KO in like the first 45 seconds and the game was over, even though the set was really close leading up to that game 3. Based Bars being the same Purdue team, PAL, that seems to have changed their name here. I believe someone in chat yesterday said that was based off of another team that played in one of their Purdue LAN tournaments, that they liked that name Bars that they had, so they changed it off that. Splat-A-Lot H, the final Splat-A-Lot team. This is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Okay, so I comes after H. And then there's the Splat-A-Lot J team that didn't play in this one. So it's going to be hard. Honestly, it's going to be hard to distinguish all these Splat-A-Lot teams from each other. Like, I'm sure they all have different play styles. I'm sure they all have consistent players that play for them. But it's hard to, when their names are all the same, it's hard to just tell who's who. And again, if Splat-A-Lot A doesn't win last month, we don't really care that much. But now that they got that name, it's going to be it's like the royal family now. We all got to learn everything about them. So not a good run for Splat-A-Lot H, but we'll see them in the silver bracket. Let's take a look at that real quick. The best Splat-A-Lot was D here, able to beat International and then sweeping the Territorial Water Otters before losing to Boston Squid Party and getting the win over the Radical Dreamers 3-2. So Splat-A-Lot D made the most of their loser or silver bracket run here. Radical Dreamers, their former FNF team. I didn't look up what their other results was in past Little Squid League tournaments. I know they played in them, but finishing fourth place in what seemed to be a competitive game, third place match here is still pretty impressive. Boston Squid Party almost won. I said they were the team that was going to win this whole tournament, and I did that without doing too much research on who all signed up for this one. But they almost won Little Squid League silver bracket. Still a fan of Boston Squid Party, even though they finished in second place here, knocking off one of these Splat-A-Lot teams and No Name Brand, who's giving Somersite everything they could handle in the group stage. But the team of one silver bracket, this translates to, according to Google, I built the room. What? I don't know what that is. But they destroyed this bracket. And again, this team took a game off the team that won the whole tournament, or Lemongrass. So I think they just had a really tough group. They had a really tough group and just kind of took their frustration out on silver bracket here. Bless their hearts. These guys signed up for Low Ink, but I think they dropped because they needed a sub and kept asking us like 20 times if they could get a sub. And we're like, no, get an improved one. So we didn't get to see them play in Low Ink. And I think they wanted to change their name to Papa John Employees or something like that as well, but they're stuck with this one, which Google says is We Built the Room. Okay, congrats on winning silver bracket. Looking at gold real quick. Whew. So this is where Lemongrass is kind of, I don't know, picked up another player or woke up or decided if we don't want to play in Little Squid League anymore, let's just destroy it. My goodness. 3, 6, 7, 8, 12-1 with their only loss coming to the team that finished second place last time and third place, dominantly third place this time, in Sia. A very impressive run for Lemongrass. A team that qualified for beta bracket in Low Ink but dropped from beta bracket. They went 4-2 and finished 10th in their Swiss group in Low Ink here. So it doesn't surprise me that they won it, but it does surprise me they struggled so much in group stage and then bounced back into this one here in like seemingly like uncompetitive fashion with all of these teams, except for Sia, who was able to take one game off of them. The real story here, though, is this bottom half of the bracket, which was insanely competitive. First off, you got Inkception, a.k.a. Hotel Popgun, going all the way to fourth place here, knocking off Oofish, a team that, again, Oofish had made so many silver brackets and not really done well in low inks in the past, has been grinding and improving so much over the course of these past several low ink, or Little Squid leagues, to where their time is coming. They're on the cusp of greatness here. They're just a few games behind, and Bamboo Dragons, who keep losing to them, probably happy they were on the opposite side of the bracket there. But Oofish, their time is coming. Just wait, because they're grinding for it. But Inkception getting the better end of them right now. But I wanted to point out Ship Shape's run here, because they played Splat-A-Lot in round 2, got taken to a game 5 that they won. Inkception in round 3 got taken to a game 5 and won. So this is a really competitive bottom side of the bracket. Like, the heart of this, of Top Cut, was really competitive, and that's a sign of a fun tournament for teams to play in, and a sign that, just like Low Ink, Little Squid League is a little bit unpredictable. Which is why your number 13 seed, Lemongrass, coming out of nowhere to just stomp the daylights out of Ship Shape 4-0 is eyebrow-raising. Again, these guys lost to Inkception, who Inkception beat, but couldn't touch Lemongrass here, 4-0. It's interesting. And again, it's just the concept of best of 3 versus best of 7. The completely different formats. Coming out sluggish. That might have been Lemongrass's first game. Coming out sluggish to start off the day, to waking up over the course of the tournament. And it's why people get frustrated in Low Ink. I lost the best 3 in Swiss. Now I'm out of Alpha bracket when I could have won it. Yeah. And that's why I say, all you got to do is make Top Cut. All you got to do is make Alpha bracket. And then you'll be fine from there. Just put yourself in a position to try to get some wins here. Just survive. Lemongrass survived group stage, and they made the most of it. So hats off to them for doing that. Hopefully they can play in Low Ink all the way through next time around and not drop in beta bracket, and we can see what they do. But Little Squid League teams traditionally make Alpha bracket the next month, and they finished 10th in their Swiss group, and, well, there's no Low Ink next month, or this month, July, so they got an extra month to kind of grow and push themselves into becoming an Alpha bracket team. Welcome back, Little Squid League. It was good to see you guys there. We love seeing Little Squid League, and hopefully Little Squid League 22, even though there's a lot of stuff going on in July, can find ways to make that work. So that's it. Like I said, the next 16 episodes of the Popcast, we already know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Nintendo and whatever crazy jank goes on in this upcoming SAC tournament qualifier number 1. So a lot of stuff to get to the next week. If you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, feel free to reach out to my socials below. Twitter at Mr_Popgun, Discord Popgun, #5882, YouTube at 25Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun. And I don't know who to raid. Captain Bob, that's who we're going to raid. Captain Bob, dude. Hey, get vaccinated. Sign up for Shine if you're going. And enjoy the rest of your week. And don't die between now and then. The next episode of the Popcast. I need your views. Thank you.